Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, this is Natalie James, and today on Chatting with Nat, we have the honor of having singer-songwriter Emily Jean of the collective, The Uneasy. She gave us a long bio, so I'm going to read it from here. The Uneasy is a collective of like and unlike-minded artists creating emotionally charged music that explores some of the darkest experiences of the human condition. Lost, alone, and hopeless. Emily Jean fell into a deep depression that led to a heroin overdose when she was just 27. Luckily, she was revived thanks to a heavy dose of Narcan, but she temporarily lost her hearing. Not being able to hear was exceptionally more frightening than death for me, she recalls. The thought of never being able to hear a song again, let alone play or write one, was enough for me to make a change. This was not the first time she had overdosed, but it would be the last. After she regained her hearing and reflected on the harrowing experience, Emily put all her time and energy into writing an album about addiction while on the road to her recovery. I wanted to say all the words that I wish I had heard as I was going through some of my darkest times. As the brain, heart, and soul child of singer-songwriter Emily Jean, The Uneasy explores some of the most difficult and uncomfortable themes that deal with the complexities of the human condition. As our name suggests, we want to address what some may see as uncomfortable or even painful, because the more transparent we are about our struggles, the more connected we become through them. Slave is about the moment of realization and awakening of sorts. It is the exact moment you come to terms with the fact that if you don't change your life dramatically, very soon you will die. Emily Jean started writing music at age 10, teaching herself how to play drums, guitar, and piano. Not classically trained, she learned how to play by ear and how to structure songs by listening to and songwriters. After playing drums in her first band at age 13, she was completely hooked on performing. For the next decade, she played drums, sang, and wrote songs for several bands, landing slots of festivals and opening for major acts, including Snoop Dogg, Paramore, and Kings of Leon. But along the way, the harsh realities of drug abuse set in, leading to a parting of ways with one of the more established bands she ever played with. A spiral of depression, heroin addiction, and overdose soon followed. Years later, Emily Jean says her hope for The Uneasy is to entertain, comfort, inspire, and shine light on some of life's darkest subjects. If I never went through what I went through, I don't think this project would exist. We are here and doing this for a purpose. I am sure of it. After all, Jean says, the only way out of anything is to go through it. That's how we end up on the other side, stronger, wiser, and more empathetic. And let's give her a round of applause. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I like to answer. I always answer that I'm still alive.
That is true.
in this what I like to call cray world. So here's how I actually like to put it. So how have you been during this, let me see, politics, George Floyd, tsunamis, earthquakes, COVID had some babies, monkeypox, polio, another virus in China, Roe versus Wade, cicadas. I think I've touched on most of them because it's been wild. Oh, sorry, I forgot the mass shooting. Mass shooting.
Yes. Yes. Indeed, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But just trying to stay focused on, what we're trying to do and everything. It's tough though. It's really, really tough.
Amen. So one of the things I like to ask is this. Obviously, the past couple of years, especially the pandemic, has been funky. It's just been funky. People have lost lives, limbs, have long-term effects of COVID. But on the other side of things, there actually have been pros to this whole poo-poo land that we've been in. It allowed people to self-reflect. It allowed for a lot of self-introspection. It allowed for people to really understand who they are as people, who they are when they're not around people, because one of the major things we came to understand is that people need people. Okay, especially if you're an extrovert and you had to live through this time, and you can be around people, you lived alone. Some people they had nervous breakdowns. If you're an introvert and you're staying inside, you're like, oh, I like this. You don't like the being inside, but we did learn that people need physical touch. If you're by yourself, you're just like, okay, you can touch yourself, but that's a whole different story. But the thing is, you need other people around you. You realize that, and some of the things that I saw, I saw more family members walking outside together. I had a colleague that decided to walk back on work because he realized, oh my God, I'm missing so much from my family life. I read a ton of articles about people that decided to quit their jobs because what they realized is that, they need to make money. Obviously, they need to eat, have clothes on their back, a home and all that stuff. They realize they want to do something that's more in line with their passion and something that makes them happy. So a lot of people quit their jobs. Climate change, the pollution level went down when we were in the streets. I mean, the animals and Mother Nature were just like celebrating, and then we came back and they're like, oh, they're back. And then there's artists like you and I that, released albums, EPs, tracks, singles. Some decided to rebrand. Some said, screw this music thing, I'm not doing it anymore. So in terms of your music in your life, did you think about anything different than you already thought about? Is there anything you want to change, or are you going to stay the same? What did you think about?
Oh, man. I really just feel like that whole experience really, it made everything very clear, all the things we take for granted. There was a big part of me after writing everything and starting to record and doing all of that while everything was happening, even not knowing for sure if we were ever going to actually play a live show.
Right.
It was and I had at that time hadn't played live for almost 10 years because I took a lot of time off to get my life together. But that was definitely in the back of my mind. I always tried to stay positive. But, of course, after a certain amount of time and you're working towards this goal and you're like, where's this going to go, though? Because, everything is changing from one day to the next. You can't really make plans of anything. But the one really positive thing that came out of it was, building a relationship with, some of the guys that I was writing music with and everything. I met my bassist, Kevin, and, we were kind of like the only ones hanging out with each other. Like we weren't hanging out with anybody else. We were very, obviously around that time, you have to be very picky and choosy of who you spend time with and how, and all of that. So, he was one of the only people that was coming, to my house, and we were still writing and doing stuff. So, it really made it. I think it changed a lot about a lot of people. Yeah. And hopefully, I'm hoping that people took away that you can't take these things for granted. Just going outside, going grocery shopping, doing these totally mundane, ridiculous things that, we always take for granted is really kind of awesome that we get to play live and go to concerts and do all these things now. So, yeah. Yeah,
you would think that the fact that everybody actually has been through the same thing, that people would have been come out of this more compassionate and more loving, and it's like the opposite. I mean, there's some people that are understanding and loving, but then there are other people that are just, the hate just consumed them, or they got angry about a lot of crap that was going on. Some people just, this will never change. It will always be the same. Now, you started
Yeah.
doing music pretty early. I see that and reading your bio. Um, Now, is it that it came out of the womb, just saying, okay, I'm gonna do music, or is it that it was something that you heard or you saw and you were just like, okay, I'm going to do this music thing?
Oh, my parents are musicians.
Okay.
My father's a bassist, and my mother sings and plays guitar, and my grandmother was a singer. Both of my grandmothers were singers and dancers, so it runs in my family.
Okay.
We were just raised listening to music and playing music and all of that. So I knew very, very young that that's what I wanted to do.
That's
sure.
awesome. That's awesome that you come from. It's awesome that you come from a family background because they will understand you and support you in so many ways.
For sure.
How important is it for you to be authentic as a person and authentic in your music?
Oh, it's so important. Now, I mean, is more important than ever. I feel like when I was younger, sometimes you fall into trends or something is
Right.
hot one minute and then you, in trying to align with other people or other things, you just lose your whole identity and your whole self trying to go that way. So definitely staying true to yourself and just following your intuition and just what feels right for you. And, when you're making music with other people and you're recording with other people, there's always going to be, different opinions out there and different, different ways of doing things. But I definitely think just sticking to your guns and going with your gut feeling is usually the best way to go. Absolutely.
Amen. Amen. It is great to stay true to who you are and be authentic. It's interesting because, during the pandemic, obviously we had downtime. Some of us did at least. Some of us worked from home, but still had downtime. And, I did a lot of different music conferences, webinars, as many as I could. And one of the ones was TikTok. And they were saying how the videos that do the best are the people being authentic. And it's because they can relate to that. They can't relate to these artists out here, these mainstream artists. At least with Joe Schmo or who are James Spain or whatever, they're on the TikTok and they're doing something silly or they're telling you a story or they're telling you they're sad. Whatever the case may be, you can actually relate to that because you've been through some of those things. And so what I found that obviously during the pandemic that a lot of independent artists became known to other people because people had time to actually search music and with all the live streaming as well, that actually helped a lot.
Yeah, for
a lot
sure.
of it, like, oh my God, I really like this music. So I like the fact that you guys, you and the collective, the Uneasy, talk about, some of the issues that maybe people, don't even think about singing about. I released a song last year, a couple of years ago, about my own assault, and so people were like shocked, and I was like, yeah, why not? It'll help other people.
Absolutely, and that's
the whole,
yeah.
It's the whole social impact. I know for myself, I want to be an effective player in my life and my music. I want people to say, okay, Natalie tried to do this. She tried to help people in the world. So. Is that what you're trying to do as well with the Uneasy, the collective, and the music that you're coming out with?
Absolutely, 100%. This album especially is really, it's all about the journey through what I went through with addiction. Right. And it's kind of like the full spectrum of it, which is something that I don't know. I'm sure somebody has done or whatever, but I've never experienced it in this kind of way. I feel like a lot of artists, when they're in active addiction, they write songs about the addiction, but usually keep it pretty vague and kind of, it's not so specific because usually you don't want other people to know that that's what you're going through and that's what's happening because then people will try to intervene. So I feel like now that writing from it, being out of it and have been being out of it for a while and having time to reflect on it, to be able to write the entire story from the beginning, from when I, started to kind of get out of control, and then coming to terms with that, figuring out, okay, I have a problem, actually detoxing, then getting clean, and also still having those certain issues, because, people think you get clean and then all of a sudden everything's fine and you're good. And that's not the case at all. There's always those reasons why you started using are usually still there after you get clean. So I kind of touch up a little bit on, like survivors, not regret, but guilt, that kind of thing, like how come I got out, my friends or this person or whoever didn't, feeling like you don't deserve a good life or you don't deserve the things that you have because you've been so shitty in the past. That's all of that stuff. So I tried to get experience into one album, and that's Time to Kill. Yeah.
And I love that. If we have artists like you, you have to be fearless. And you have to be fearless, but you also have to be the type of person that doesn't care what people think at the same time. Because, we live in a very, 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 very judgy world. And so I love the fact that you're fearless. You're just like, I'm going to tell people because this may help somebody on the other side of things. Somebody may be going through the same thing. I like to tell this story about how I was interviewed somebody else, and they were telling, it wasn't an interview. I actually went to a get together, and this woman was telling us a story about her performance. And she said after she performed, this person came up to her. It was just like, oh my gosh, this performance really touched me so much because I was going to go home and kill myself. And because I listened, I'm not going to do that anymore. You gave me a lease on life. So people just don't understand how important music is, how important your voice is, how important your storytelling is. They just don't get that aspect of things. It's very important what you have to say because it can change somebody's life for the better in so many ways because they see your bravery. They're just like, oh my gosh, if she can do this too, I can do this too. You know what I mean?
That's really what I'm hoping for. It's also kind of selfish on my part too, because it's like there's a part of me that I'm just waiting to release. Like that part of my life that once it's over and the album is done and it's out and people are listening to it, I feel like I'm going to be able to really release that part of me and that part, in a more tangible kind of way. So
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. It's setting yourself free, and it's helping somebody else set themselves free.
Yeah, that's really what I'm hoping for sure.
And I always tell musicians all the time, music is your superpower. It is a superpower. Oh, yeah. Music is where, most everybody gets along. You go to a concert, nobody's arguing. They're just like having a good time because they're enjoying that band or that singer. And music has the ability to, move mountains and heal and do all kinds of stuff. So, kudos to you for, wanting to be in this industry because this industry can also drive you insane. All the stuff that we have to do. So what is your writing process like? And if you have like writer's block, how do you deal with it?
The process is interesting because I usually get it when I'm falling asleep.
Really?
I forget what that term is when you're like in that in between of like consciousness and sleep. And usually I'll just hear melodies. And
really?
Yeah. A lot of this album was written that way, for sure. It wasn't always like that, but when I started writing again after I took some time off, that's how it came to me. Like I would be drifting off to sleep, and then I would hear this melody in my head, and it'd be going over and over and over. I have to get up and go record it on my voice recorder on my phone, Thank goodness for that, because it's gone.
Wow.
But yeah, but that's I do the melody, and then I'll usually the next day or sometimes that night right there, if I'm feeling, motivated enough to just figure out what instrument I want to accompany it with, and then go from there, either guitar or piano. And then I usually bring it to the guys, and then they put their little part on it, and that's usually how it goes. But it's always, I very rarely ever, like, sit down, like, hey, I'm going to write a song. Like, it's not usually like that. I'll usually wait till it just comes to me, either that way or just during the day.
It's interesting because I'm like that. I'm like that too. I can't be forced to write. I've got to be moved by something to write something.
Yeah.
Because I literally will stare at a piece of paper or the screen for hours, and then, I'll sleep on it, and then the next day it's just like it flows like water. And I'm always asking myself, where were you when I needed you last night? Trying to get these words out, and I find the whole process funny. It's just funny to me. It's weird.
This whole writing the album thing, though, has been like the most incredible experience ever. Just building on top of, layering on top of layer, and it's like building a house or something like that. But it's just, I don't know, the way it's all coming together. This is the first time that I've ever recorded an album that I wrote myself. So to hear, it's different. It hits a lot different.
Yeah.
When you're in the studio and you hear, like, we had a string quartet come in to the studio to do a couple of the songs, and it was beyond moving, because the way the process happened was my producer is like, okay, do you have any ideas for the strings? Yes, I have this melody in my head, but, I'm not classically trained. I can't just sit there and write down, chart it out or anything. I know a lot of people that can, and that's amazing. My producer told me to just sing the melody in the mic, send him the recordings, and he'll chart it out. And then they'll know what to play on the day of. So I walked in, and I hear these strings playing this melody that I've been hearing in my head for like 2 years. And I'm hearing it in harmony, and it's just gorgeous and beautiful. And I'm like trying not to cry. And I'm like, this is incredible. Just hearing all this stuff that's been happening in my head for 2 years just coming to life. When not too long ago, I wasn't even sure if we were going to be able to go into a real studio to record this, So it's just incredible.
It is surreal when you create something and it comes to life. You have given something. Yeah. You have given your life and the word life so that another person can have life, so to speak. Yeah. It's definitely a good thing. I completely understand that. Now I'm going to play. What should I play? I'm going to play Inside. Tell me what that's about.
Okay. Well, Inside is basically about self-love and about trying to stop finding that love externally and trying to find it internally within yourself, and kind of changing it around.
Amen. Amen. I believe in that. Let's play it.
Can
rocking it out. It reminded me. It was a cross between Gwen Stefani for me and the lead singer of Evanescence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, Gwen Stefani does not surprise me because I grew up listening to her. For sure.
I mean, obviously, but I also could hear. I could picture your type of voice would do well in movies too, in document whatever. Sync and licensing, is that something you guys are thinking of going for as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do that. That's definitely the next step after the album's released, to see how we can make that happen, because that would be amazing.
I think that your voice would do well on that, definitely. It's powerful and it's smooth also.
Oh, thank you.
Very, 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 very talented. Now, what do you love most about being an artist?
Oh boy. I mean, I'm really not good at anything else.
Alrighty.
Honestly, I've had a lot of jobs. I've done a lot of things, and never anything the way I feel when I'm creating. I've always been drawn to that. I mean, always writing and music, and when I was in high school, photography. It's always been art for me, for sure. I don't know what else I would be doing. So, yeah.
I like that answer, though. This is the thing I can do, so I'm going to do this thing. This is the thing. How do you deal with your marketing and promoting? Music has evolved so much that people that are doing music now have way more work than people did back in the day. So
yeah, for sure. It's completely different. I mean, I took almost 10 years off. So when I left, it was like Instagram wasn't really a thing yet. It wasn't that popular or whatever. I wasn't promoting my bands on Instagram or anything like that. TikTok wasn't a thing. And I've never, any of the other bands that I was ever in, I wasn't really kind of like heading it. Like I wasn't really the one that did the promotion or did any of that kind of stuff. I kind of just, helped write and I performed, and it was always somebody else in the band that kind of booked the gigs and did the promotion and did all of that other stuff. So this is really the first time that I'm pretty much doing this, So it's definitely been interesting trying to get to learn how to use TikTok and to make videos and to do all the stuff to get your music out. There's a lot more stuff to do than just write music and record music and perform, which is obviously what most of us love to do. That's, why we do it. But now it's to get it out there is you got to do this, and this, which, could be fun too in its own right. It all depends on how you look at it and how you approach it, for sure.
Yeah. So, when you write a song now, sometimes, if this is your thing, you got to say, oh, will this work on TikTok? Will it go viral? Will it help somebody there? Will it help somebody on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, Snapchat, Clubhouse, this, it's just so different when you're thinking about writing a song, and some people don't even think about all that stuff. They're like, I'm building up my catalog. I just want people to listen to it. I don't care if it goes viral. I just want to make a difference with it. But if you're looking for, like, trying to sign with a label or something like that, labels now, what they look at, it doesn't even matter if your song is great or you have a fantastic voice. They look at your streams. They look at how many people you're engaging with, which is kind of sad. This is very sad.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's like every every platform has a different different type of content that works. So it's like having to change things here, and then like things that I would do on TikTok are not what I would do on Instagram, and
right.
on Facebook or on that. It's like it's all sort of separate. But I definitely, it's interesting. And then being on it more so that you can see what's working and what's happening. And then you're like lost in this world of social media. It's like, I like writing music. I want to sing songs for people. It's crazy.
So let me tell you, TikTok says you should do 5 videos a day.
That's insanity.
Who has time?
That's insanity.
Now, I've seen people do like 5-second videos and they get millions of views, which I still don't understand. But it's like, okay, now you want me to do music, and now you want me to think up 5 videos per day to just talk about or do whatever. And it's not unachievable, but you really have to set aside time to really think about what you want to put on there. It's just,
if you want it to be good, yeah.
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 But sometimes the videos that do the best are the ones people just hop on and they're just shooting the breeze, or they're talking about their lives and stuff like that. And people can just relate. Like recently, this is the weird thing for me, is that I've been talking about Roe versus Wade a lot. And those are the videos that I have a video that's like, that has 50,000 views. And it's all about Roe versus Wade, because right now this is the hottest topic. And I give my opinion. I don't care what people think. But it's just crazy. It's whatever is moving that. And then sometimes I watch the videos, like food videos do very well. People that criticize other people's cooking, those videos do well. If you're a musician, you just talk about your music. You're like, you can get people to, buy your music. You need at least, 1,000 followers to be able to go live or something like that. I really pushed it this year. I was like, okay, I'm going live. I still haven't gone live, but I've achieved a fan base. But it's just a lot more stuff that we have to do than what they used to do back in the day. Like back in the day, you could take your CD or record or whatever, give it to the radio station. They might play it. Here's pay to play. It's just lots of politics, lots of work to do. It's just mind blowing. So I'm going to play your song, Slave. Tell me what that's about.
Slave. Slave is the song about me coming to terms with my addiction and knowing, okay, this is a reality. This is where I'm at right now. And if I don't change something right now, like I'm going to die. I'm either going to die or I'm going to end up in jail, or something horrible is going to happen. So it's kind of like the moment of realization, like the aha moment, like this needs to be fixed now or else it's never going to be fixed.
All right. Let me play it.
Never be the same. Audio Jungle.
Once again, a powerhouse. What are three things that you wish you had known about the music business before you got into the music business?
That there's other things that you have to do other than make music and write, and there's some things that aren't going to come as naturally to you as those things. But if it's really something that you love and it's really something that you can't live without doing, then it's all worth it, for sure.
Yeah. The music business is such a beautiful business, but it can be so shady. I mean, so what I always tell people, I wish I'd known that, when you start doing music, that it's like these people have like a sensory thing that they have going, like they know when the newbies are out there, and then they latch on them, telling them that they can make them stars when they can't, and they scam people out of money.
Oh, it's very predatory. Yeah, there's a lot of that happening, for sure.
It's just yucky. I always tell people, do your due diligence, do your research on people. If somebody says, it's for you, no. Do your research. Ask people that have worked with them if that's true. Now,
absolutely.
when is your full-length album Time to Kill set to be released?
Well, Time to Kill is going to be released in the spring. So we have a little time to promote it and everything and get it together. But we're looking around March or April.
Awesome sauce. I like that.
Yeah. But we do have a single coming out before the album comes out.
Right.
A single called Bad Bad Love that is set to release on Valentine's Day.
Bad Bad Love. I like the title. It's not mushy gushy. It's Bad Bad Love. And what is that song about?
Oh, Bad Bad Love is about toxic relationships and the pattern of falling for emotionally unavailable people and breaking out of that cycle of thinking that that's what you deserve and that's all that you could ever have. Because it's just not true.
Oh my God, preach it. I think a lot of people need to learn that that's not true. I think one of the biggest things in life is the key to learning how to love yourself. And people just think
absolutely.
And people just think that's so vain, but it's not about vanity. It's like when you're doing music, if you don't love what you're doing or love what you're putting out, nobody's going to love it because that's not the energy that you're putting into it. So I think people need to look at themselves the same way. If I don't love myself, they love me because that's the energy that I'm putting out.
Absolutely.
So kudos to you for creating. I can't wait to hear your album. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you have a great voice. I mean, it's just awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be hot.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
I mean, you sing and you speak your truth, and I think more and more artists are gravitating towards that. Realize how important it is to help other people in the world. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like it's it's our job as artists to speak on those things.
That's
and
right.
to bring certain things to light, because it's not stuff that just comes up in everyday conversation. You don't meet someone new and you're like, oh, well, what about this thing? Like, these are really heavy things. Even writing songs about it, even writing like an entire album about it is it's intense. And I know that it's intense, but I think that, I think it's really going to help people that are going through this, not feel so alone and not feel so, it's a lot about addiction that most people still don't understand. I still don't understand. So it's just something that makes it not so polarizing, So.
No, I get it. Well, Emily, thank you so much for being on Chatting with Nat. It was truly my honor to get to know you and listen to your fantastic music. I'm sure you're going to go far. I can't wait for the spring to come in 2023 so that I can full length album. Continue to speak your truth and sing your truth. But thanks again for being on Chatting with Nat.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everybody. That was singer Emily Jean of the collective The Uneasy. If you want to find her, she's definitely online all over the place, but her website is theuneasymusic.com. And on Instagram, it's The Uneasy Official. If you don't remember that, guess what? There's a thing called Google. You can search The Uneasy Official, and you'll find her fantasticness right there. Until next time on Chatting with Nat. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Natalie.
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.
If you're a Kia K5 GT and Kia Forte GT owner, this is your reminder to breathe. See that sophisticated interior? Enjoy those sensations. And now, imagine how you look from the outside, and that speed that only a Kia GT sedan can give you. Sorry, I can't help but get excited.
For those lives full of thrilling emotions, the all-powerful, all-fun Kia GT sedan. Kia, movement that inspires. Limited inventory available. Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.